The most powerful tool you use to build your business is actively working against it. And it is not your funnel building software. It's not your CRM. It's not your email management service. It's your brain. And you're running a $1 billion opportunity through a brain that was never designed for it. So every morning you sit down to build something meaningful, to get into deep work, and then some invisible force pulls you towards the safe, the immediate, the busy work. And that doesn't mean you lack drive. That doesn't mean that the opportunity is not real. It means that the brain is trained to do exactly what it evolved to do. And it's not helping you build a business. It's literally keeping you alive. And this short video will show you something nobody ever told you, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. You know this to be true because you work all day, and if we're honest, there's 3 hours maybe in which you actually move your business forward. The rest was motion, busy work, responses, reactions, sending quick Slack messages. And that gap is not a willpower problem. It's not a strategy problem. It's that your brain is running on patterns that you haven't yet rewired. Patterns were perfectly designed to keep you alive in an environment that doesn't exist anymore. And there's 5 specific ways that we've noticed after working with hundreds of founders that this affects them every day. Pattern number 1 is what I call thread redirect. See, it's 9 a.m., you show up, full intention, there's one thing that matters, and within 60 seconds, you're checking email, you're checking Slack. What happened? Well, what happened is that your brain scanned the task, the important task you needed to do, and since it was uncertain, high stakes, and had no immediate feedback, it flagged it at a thread, like in 200 milliseconds. And before your rational mind could argue back, your subconscious mind went for something safer. And this is the core of procrastination. But it is not a time management problem. It is a threat detection system doing exactly what it was built to do. And the problem is that your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between a daunting, uncertain, big project and a cold email to a prospect or a predator. They literally look the same. And that is why you are gone to lower level work, even if you don't want to. Now, how do you micro override this? Well, you need to obviously subconsciously program yourself, which takes a few weeks. But the fastest way to start moving in the right direction is as soon as you realize that you've been drawn toward that busy work, name that clearly. Name that pattern. Say, this is the threat detection pattern, and then use a timer to work on the thing that you said you were going to do. And if you do that strong enough, you start rewiring that pattern. Now, pattern number 2 is what I call the immediate reward trap. See, even when you try to resist the redirect, your brain has a second move. It assigns value to rewards depending on how soon they arrive. So a clear inbox, which takes just a few minutes, feel neurologically better than a strategic asset that pays off in 3 months. And the brain is designed to do that. Unless you recalibrate it, it is constantly shifting towards easier work. Now, how do you override this? Well, the easiest way is what I call the ring fencing protocol, and we have a PDF here that I want you to download and start implementing. It's a daily 90-minute block in which you work on the highest, most important work. And that block shapes the rest of the day. Now, are you safe? Well, not yet, because there's pattern number 3, which is the urgency override. And your brain treats urgency and importance as the same signal, but obviously they're not. The ping, the 3-message client, the notification, they trigger a stress response, the same as those things are actually crucial and strategic. So they narrow your focus, they force you to drop what you're doing, and the thing you decided was important to do sits on another tab. And based on our data, this steals like 7 to 9 hours per week every time you get redirected to urgent work. So how do you override this? Well, we design systems so that we don't work on anything urgent until we finish the most important work, and the systems over time allow us to minimize the instances in which something urgent falls into our lap. Once you design a business in a specific way, you end up having no urgent things competing for your attention, and if they happen, you have systems that are either technology or other people who deal with that. Now, pattern number 4 is the rumination loop. See, when something goes wrong, a client pushes back, a deadline slips, the brain often doesn't move on. It lingers, it replays the event, it rehearses the conversation, and prepares for every version of that recurring threat. And for physical threats, back in the savannah 100,000 years ago, that kept you alive. But for business problems, it consumes hours that should be going to decisions. And I'm talking about menial stuff like getting an angry comment on an ad, or having a tough conversation with a teammate, or maybe just spending money on a creative that ended up going nowhere. If you stop ruminating every mistake, you end up wasting hundreds of hours every single year. So how do you micro override this? Well, we go back to ring fencing. Ring fencing is the core building block of a high performing day, but we also apply a 5-minute decision gate. So every time you need to decide something, if it's not materially important for the business and these decisions are not life or death, we just take it within 5 minutes. And the final pattern is the bad news multiplier. See, your brain weights negative events roughly 5 times heavier than positive ones, which is why a strong month can feel like okay, and a bad month, it feels like the world is crumbling. And that is because the brain was designed to scan for threats. And that distortion compounds into a story that contradicts what the data actually shows. So what is the micro override? Well, we train our clients in something we call the end of day report. That end of day report is designed in a way in which it overweights the positive in order to counteract the negative loop that the brain typically loves to replay. So over time, you end up focusing on what's working instead of endlessly replaying what is not working. And those are 5 patterns that are not permanent. You can rewire them. They're not who you are. They're just how the brain is default wire. And I built over the past 8 years a protocol which I call neuro execution that literally helps you rewire those patterns over time. And it gives you a signal of what we call an execution capacity, your ability to deal with hard, uncertain, high leverage work without you being redirected into reward seeking, easy, busy work. And the higher your execution score, 0 to 100, the better you are at business. There's a correlation between your execution score and revenue. And we run every client through this. And we see it in real time, how when the score goes up, the revenue also goes up. But not only the revenue, the productive output, the sense of joy while working, and procrastination and self-doubt and burnout go down. Procrastination by 56% within 16 weeks, self-doubt around 78%, and burnout around 90% because we track it. So if you happen to have these patterns, well, there's nothing wrong with you, but your brain is not ready for your business yet. And that's why you're wasting most of your time, because you need to retrain it. So we offer decoding sessions every single week, which are 30 minutes and are designed to help us understand how your brain works and give you specific pointers about how we would help you. Now, this is not a sales call, this is a decoding session. If you happen to be interested in working with us, we'll have to schedule a follow-on call. So if you truly want to have your patterns decoded, book your decoding session now, and let's really find out why you are not showing up at the level you know you can. See you on the call.